Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator philosophy to help you build a paycheck-based spending plan that fits your life, stacks up savings, and knocks out debt without losing your mind or your momentum. Today, we're busting some serious money myths because when it comes to personal finance, bad advice is everywhere. TikTok gurus with guaranteed hacks, Uncle Bob's Thanksgiving wisdom, and experts clinging to advice that hasn't been updated since 1995. Some of it sounds smart, some of it feels right, and some of it, it's just plain wrong. And it could be sabotaging your spending plan without you even realizing it. So why does this matter? Money myths don't just give bad advice, they create confusion, they shake your confidence. And worst of all, they lead you to make choices that slow down or stop your Triggator triangle. But not today. Today, we're shining a bright spotlight on 7 of the biggest personal finance lies people still believe in 2025 and replacing them with truths that actually work. It was once said, probably by Mark Twain, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And that's exactly why today's episode matters. It's not the things that you haven't learned yet that derail your spending plan. It's the myths you've been told or sold that feel like truth but quietly sabotage your progress. Today we'll cover 7 money myths that keep you stuck, the real strategies that move you forward, and how to protect your spending plan from bad advice in the future. By the end of this episode, you'll have more clarity, more confidence, and fewer gators trying to take a bite out of your wallet. Let's get to busting. Myth number 1, the big lie. Budgeting limits your freedom. Let's kick things off with one of the most popular and dangerous myths. A budget limits your freedom. You've probably heard that 100 times. Maybe you've even felt it yourself at some point. The idea that having a plan for your money means you're saying no to fun, no to flexibility, and no to living your best life. But here's the truth. A spending plan doesn't limit your freedom. It gives you freedom. It's the difference between wandering aimlessly and choosing your own adventure. Without a plan, you're reacting. With a plan, you're deciding. Why this myth feels so true? This myth is sticky because it plays to our emotions. Who doesn't want to feel free? Freedom to go out to eat whenever you want. Freedom to take that weekend trip. Freedom to grab those concert tickets because, hey, it's Taylor Swift and those opportunities don't come around twice. Let's be honest, budget has been branded as a punishment word. When people hear it, they think restrictions, cutting back, no fun allowed. And you've probably heard these lines or even said them yourself. It's not in the budget. Translation, this plan is a vault and I can't crack it, even though you built the vault. We can't afford that right now, which often has nothing to do with affordability. It's just not in the plan. But it sounds noble, like you're making responsible sacrifice, cue dramatic music. Maybe next month. A classic delay tactic. It makes you feel proactive while the budget quietly becomes the villain in your financial superhero origin story. That's not a priority right now. This sounds so responsible it could take a round of applause at a finance seminar. But deep down, it can feel like the budget is making all the decisions and you're just going along for the ride, holding the popcorn. But that's not what a spending plan is about. A quick example. Imagine going on a road trip with no map, no GPS, and no destination in mind. At first, that sounds spontaneous and exciting. No rules, no limits, just driving wherever the wind takes you. Until you realize that you're out of gas, you're out of snacks, and somehow 3 days later, you're right back at your starting point, except now your wallet's empty and you missed the Grand Canyon by about 300 miles. That's what spending without a plan looks like. A spending plan is your GPS. It doesn't tell you where to go. It helps you get to the place you want to go. On purpose, on time, with gas and snacks still in the tank. The Triggator Triangle truth. When you tell every dollar where to go, budget leads to control. Save leads to security. Pay off debt leads to freedom. You're not taking freedom away, you're building it. And that's the kicker most people miss. When you don't tell your dollars where to go, you lose control, you feel stressed, you react instead of decide, and your future gets shaped by yesterday's spending. That's not freedom, that's chaos. And since yesterday was May the 4th, it's only fitting that we turn to the wisdom of a Jedi Master. As Qui-Gon Jinn once said, your focus determines your reality. And in personal finance, that couldn't be more true. If your focus is on what you can't do or what you're missing out on, your reality is limited. But if your focus is on your spending plan, on where you want your money to take you, your reality becomes freedom, flexibility, and progress. That's the way of the Jedi, and that's the way of the smart spender. The bottom line, your spending plan is not the fun police. It's not the dream crusher. It's not your creativity killer. It's the tool that gives you permission to dream and the power to achieve those dreams without guilt, without chaos, without waking up wondering where your money disappeared to. Myth busted. A spending plan doesn't limit your freedom. It's what creates freedom. Coming up, next we'll tackle the myth that debt is a tool and why that tool often comes with a very sharp edge. Ah, yes, 2 myths that every lender, credit card company, and points hacker blog desperately want you to believe. Debt is a tool, and credit cards build wealth. Let's break that down. First, the debt is a tool illusion. Technically, a hammer is a tool, but if you swing it around wildly in your living room, it doesn't build a house. It puts holes in your drywall. Debt is a tool. That's what lenders and finance influencers love to say. And they're right, sort of, but there's a catch. If debt is a tool, it's not your tool. It's the lender's tool. And that tool's real job? To transfer your hard-earned income into their profit margins. Remember the proverb, the borrower is servant to the lender. When you go to work each day, when you put in the hours, the effort, the energy, who are you working for? For you, for your family, for your future. Not for Visa, not for the retail store down the street, and not for your bank. The, but you're paying the store already argument. Sometimes people will say, well, even if you pay cash, you're giving your money to the store anyway, so why not borrow it and get what you want sooner? That logic sounds clever, but it leads to a simple truth. Those who understand interest earn it. Those who don't, pay it. And as your broke friend with amazing financial advice will happily remind you, YOLO man, while usually maxing out another credit card. But what about 90 days same as cash? Ah yes, the debt loophole people think they've discovered. I'll just use the store's money for 90 days and pay no interest. It sounds smart until it isn't. According to data from the Federal Reserve and credit reporting agencies, between 50 and 60% of consumers who use deferred interest financing fail to pay off the balance in the promotional period. That's from a 2023 study. And here's the kicker. When they miss that 90-day mark, interest isn't just charged going forward. It's retroactively applied back all the way to day one. And those zero interest purchases, they suddenly come with a 22 to 29% APR with back pay. Debt might look like a useful tool, but believing that, that's just a marketing tactic you've accidentally agreed to. Or, as Lloyd Christmas once said, so you're telling me there's a chance. Spoiler, there usually isn't. Here's the Triggator triangle truth. Your budget keeps you in control. Your savings gives you power. Paying off debt lets you reclaim your future income. Debt doesn't empower you, it empowers the lender. Myth number 2, busted. Debt delays you from freedom. It transfers your income to someone else's profit line. That's not a tool, it's a trap. Myth number 3, credit cards build wealth. Now, let's talk about that credit cards build wealth myth. The logic usually sounds something like this. If I pay everything on my card and pay it off every month, I'll get cash back, bonus points, miles, and a free toaster. And sure, points and cashback sound nice if you never carry a balance. But let's be honest, most people don't pay off their credit cards every month. The average US household with credit card debt carries over $7,900 in balances as of early 2025, and that's from the Federal Reserve. The average credit card interest rate right now, that's 24.6%. That cash back isn't building wealth. It's softening the blow of expensive borrowing. Let's look at points versus progress real quick. Even if you're a points pro, the math rarely works out. You'll earn 2% cash back. That's $2 on a $100 purchase. Carry that balance at 24.6% interest. That $100 becomes $124.60 if not paid off quickly. You're paying $24 so that you can earn $2. That's not wealth. That's financial gymnastics with a pulled hamstring. There's an overspending trap that goes along with this. Even those who do pay off their credit cards every month, there is a problem, and that is overspending. We've already covered that the "I'll just keep my balance at zero" strategy fails most of the time. But does it work for the disciplined few who do keep a zero balance? The quick answer, no. Money sitting in your bank account carries emotional weight. It's your hard-earned, worked for, time-sacrificed money. Spending it, you feel it. You pause, you think twice. Credit card money feels much different. It feels free. You haven't worked for it yet, so there's little emotional attachment. It flows more freely, often right out of your wallet. A quick hypothetical. If you were only $100 away from hitting that amazing points milestone or unlocking that shiny new perk, are you more or less likely to spend an extra $100 so that you can get it? Be honest. Maybe you say, I never carry a balance, but maybe just this once for just 1 month so I can get that titanium layered, platinum encrusted with diamond status that I've been eyeing. Then I can book that flight to Abu Dhabi and spend even more to earn even more points and status. See how quickly the reward system takes over your spending plan? Another Triggator triangle truth. Point hacking does not make you rich or wealthy. When you command your dollar soldiers to pay that credit card bill so that you can get points, you're sending more out there that will never return home. Your wealth isn't built on borrowed money. It's built by budgeting, saving, and paying off debt on purpose with your paycheck-backed plan. Myth number 3, busted. Credit cards don't build wealth. They build points and a false sense of progress. Coming up, next we'll tackle 2 more myths. You should always buy a home as soon as possible, and investing is only for the rich. Okay, spoiler alert, both of those get busted too. Myth number 4, you should always buy a home as soon as possible. This is the classic advice you'll hear at family barbecues, office break rooms, and your aunt's Facebook posts. Renting is throwing money away. You're wasting time if you don't own. Real estate always goes up. The reality? Buying a home can be a great wealth building move. And yes, when you're putting money into rent, you're not building wealth. But timing and readiness matter. Here's what they don't tell you. Home ownership comes with hidden costs. There's maintenance, insurance, taxes, possibly HOA fees, and that surprise $7,000 water heater replacement. If you stretch your budget and buy too soon, you risk becoming house poor, which means living in a beautiful home you cannot afford to furnish, vacation from, or even maintain properly. And if you drain your savings or take on a risky loan just so you can buy as soon as possible, you're not building wealth, you're building financial stress. Just a quick thought. Have you ever had to pay for landscaping? When you landscape a home, you are putting in literally tens of thousands of dollars to have a nice landscape outside. The kicker, when you move into a pre-landscaped home, you still need to put money into that landscaping, and that can cost you a lot of money. Otherwise, you could get pegged with a local ordinance that says your landscaping isn't where it needs to be, And suddenly, not only do you have to pay for your landscaping, but the fine from your city. Here's a quick personal story. At one point in my career, I had about the worst job title anyone could imagine. I was a foreclosure specialist. I worked for a mortgage servicing company, and my job was simple and heartbreaking: to make sure the homes in foreclosure moved through the process. This was back before the 2008 bubble burst, when subprime mortgages were all the rage. The loans I dealt with, they weren't for folks with good credit, money in the bank, and a rock-solid 15-year fixed mortgage. My portfolio was filled with things like adjustable rate mortgages. Those are the ones that have lower starting rates for about a year, then skyrocketing adjustments every 6 months. The interest that is calculated daily, so if you paid on the 28th instead of the 20th, even less went to your principal. And of course, balloon payments that were at the end. Those are those big sums that most borrowers can't afford at the end of the loan term. These loans didn't serve the borrower. They entrapped them. And when these adjustments hit, what seemed affordable suddenly became a financial disaster. What I learned in this role? It was an awful position. I didn't enjoy the job, but I learned some valuable lessons. When you buy a home, you must be ready, not pressured. You must understand every letter of the note and mortgage. And even one missed payment can trigger more than just late fees. It can start a domino effect that is incredibly hard to stop. The Triggator triangle truth: your spending plan and triangle should tell you when you're ready to buy, not peer pressure. Budget: can you handle not just the mortgage, but the full cost of ownership? Save: do you have an emergency fund and a down payment without draining your alligator funds? Pay off debt: is your debt load manageable so you don't add a crushing mortgage payment on top? Remember Indiana Jones running from the giant boulder? That's what buying a home too soon can feel like. It belongs in a museum, he said, but when it comes to bad financial decisions, they belong in the Myth Museum. Myth 4, busted. Owning a home can be smart, but rushing into ownership before you're financially ready, that's not wealth building, that's boulder dodging. Myth number 5, investing is only for the rich. Now let's talk about the myth that holds too many people back. Investing is only for the rich. This might be the most dangerous myth of all because it keeps people out of the game. I will invest when I make more. I need at least $5,000 to get started. That's just for millionaires. The reality? Not anymore. Thanks to things like employer-sponsored retirement plans, including 401ks and 403bs, low-index funds, robo-advisors that you can get through a lot of financial institutions, micro-investing apps. With any of these, you can start investing today, even with just $10. In fact, starting small and early often beats starting big and late because of the magic of compounding. A quick example: investing $50 a month starting at age 25, assuming on average an 8% return, which is actually far lower than many of the stock market indexes out there, could yield over $175,000 by age 65. If you wait until 35 to start, you'd have about $75,000. Small dollars early on become big dollars later. A quick personal story. My daughter wants to be a world-class swimmer. She has lofty goals of nationals and maybe even the Olympics. A lesson we've been working on with her is simple. If you want to be that kind of swimmer, you need to learn from world-class swimmers. She's taken that advice to heart. She picked her champion, Katie Ledecky. If you don't know Katie, she is the most decorated swimmer in the world, even more decorated than Michael Phelps. My daughter studies how Katie trains, how she eats, and how she studies the body and swimming fundamentals. She watches the missteps that Katie has made and avoids them. She looks at Katie's wins and aims for them. The finance connection? The same principle applies to your money. If you want to master your finances, you learn from those who have mastered theirs. And guess what? Every person who has built wealth, especially those who started with little, included investing in their plan. They didn't wait to become rich to start investing. They invested to become rich. The Triggator Triangle truth: even small investments keep your triangle working. Budget: allocate a small slice towards wealth building. Save: gives you the cushion to invest without risking your emergency fund. Pay off debt: frees up more money to invest over time. So as Bob Ross might say, there are no mistakes, only happy little investments. Okay, not exactly what he said, but you get the idea. Myth 5, busted. Investing isn't for the rich. Investing is how people become wealthy. Coming up, finally, we tackle the one-size-fits-all myth and the it's too late for me myth. And I'll show you why it's never too late to take control of your financial story. Myth number 6, there's only one way to manage money. Oh, if it were only that simple. Every TikTok finance guru, big money blog, an armchair expert at family gatherings seems to have the method. Maybe the 50-30-20 rule, the cash envelope system, the zero-based budget, or the buy nothing ever approach. We see you out there, minimalists. They claim to have all cracked the code. The reality: there is no single right way. Your money plan should match your income frequency, which is why the Triggator paycheck-based spending plan exists, your goals, your financial state, and yes, your personality. What works for a dual income couple with no kids won't work for a single parent. What works for someone in their 20s starting out won't work for someone in their 50s preparing for retirement. Trying to force yourself into someone else's financial method is like borrowing shoes 2 sizes too small because everyone's wearing them. The Triggator Triangle truth: budget. Your spending plan should reflect how you actually live, not how an influencer says you should live. Save. Your savings should cover the real things in your life, not someone else's Instagram-worthy goals. Pay off debt. You'll take different routes at different stages, but the destination is still freedom. But there are sound principles. All of this doesn't mean that there are not sound financial principles that we should all follow. There are time-tested foundations. Budget, save, pay off debt. Does that sound familiar? As I've studied finance in both personal and business over the years, I've seen what works. I've seen where the firm foundations are and where the trendy methods crumble. Many of those so-called only one right way plans, they're trends, they're fads. A quick comparison. Let's talk about diets. Let's do a little experiment. How many diets can you think of? First, let's do some classic diets from the 80s and 90s. We have the grapefruit diet, the cabbage soup diet, the slim fast diet, the zone diet, the low fat, high carb diet. Wait a second, how about those trendy diets? Today's headlines, we have the paleo, keto, carnivore, intermittent fasting, Whole30. Wait, there's also diets that became massive companies: Atkins, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Jenny Craig, South Beach, and the list goes on and on. Now, do these work for everyone? No. Do some work for some people? Yes. But there are universal principles. To lose weight, you burn more calories than you consume. To maintain, eat right and exercise. To gain weight, well, we're not going to go there right now. Money works the same way. There may be many methods, but the principles remain the same. Budget, save, pay off debt. Stick with those fundamentals. Your triangle won't let you down. Or, as Jack Sparrow once said, not all treasures are silver and gold, mate. And not all budgeting rules are worth their weight either. Myth number 6, busted. There's no one-size-fits-all plan. There's a plan that fits you, but the principles, those are universal. Myth number 7, it's too late for me. Possibly the most heartbreaking myth of all. People in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 30s sometimes will say, I've made too many mistakes, I'll never catch up, what's the point? The reality, the only true point of no return is when you stop trying. Yes, starting early does have its advantages, but starting now beats starting never always. Here's some real life proof. While we all know examples of people in their 20s and 30s who ended out really wealthy, doing really well, let's talk about some of those who were maybe considered a little bit more late bloomers who also crushed it. Colonel Harlan Sanders, he launched KFC at age 65 after getting a Social Security check and saying, "I'm not done." Ray Kroc, he bought McDonald's at age 52 and implemented the franchising system. Vera Wang, she didn't enter the fashion industry until she was 40. Sam Walton, he founded Walmart at age 44. Laura Ingalls Wilder, she published her first Little House book at age 65. Grandma Moses became a world-famous painter at 78. Stan Lee created Spider-Man, Iron Man, and many more in his 40s. None of them said, "It's too late." They said, "Let's get started." The Triggator Triangle truth: your triangle doesn't care how late you start. It cares that you do start. Budget. Start now, even if it feels like a small beginning. Save. Build your peace of mind fund and stop the cycle of crisis spending. Pay off debt. Progress, even slow, is still progress. As Gandalf once said, all we have to decide is what we do with the time that is given us. Whether you're 25 or 65, that time starts now. Myth 7, busted. It's not too late. It's never too late. Coming up, let's wrap things up with a quick recap and challenge to take what you've learned today and start kicking these myths to the curb once and for all. All right, today we took a wrecking ball to 7 of the biggest personal finance myths out there. Let's hit the highlights. Myth 1, busted. Budgets aren't shackles, they're your spending plan for freedom. Myth 2, busted. Debt isn't a tool for you, it's a tool for the lender. Myth 3, busted. Credit card points don't build wealth. Paying off debt does. Myth 4, busted. Buying a home before you're ready is a recipe for stress, not success. Myth 5, busted. Investing is for everyone. That's how the wealthy became wealthy. Myth 6, busted. There's no one-size-fits-all plan, but there are time-tested principles. Budget, save, pay off debt. And myth 7, it's never too late to start, not ever. The final Triggator truth for today. Your plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours, and it has to move you forward. The myths, they want to keep you stuck, chasing trends or feeling defeated. The truth, you can rewrite your financial story anytime. Today sounds like a great time to start. So here's your challenge. Today's challenge is simple but powerful. Pick one myth from the list that has held you back and take one action today to bust it. If you're avoiding budgeting, write down your next paycheck plan. If debt has trapped you, make a plan to pay a little extra this month. If you've put off investing, start small, even $10 into a starter fund. If you felt like it's too late, say it out loud right now. It's not too late. Small actions bust big myths every time. If today's episode gave you some aha moments, I'd love for you to do 3 quick things. First, follow or subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. 2, share this episode with one person who's ready to bust some money myths too. 3, and if you haven't yet, head to Triggator.com and access tools, the Triggator app, and your own spending plan template to help you budget, save, and pay off debt like a pro. Got a win, a question, or a story? If you've crushed a money myth lately, have a question, or want to share your story, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at podcast@Triggator.com. We might even feature your story in a future episode. And before we go, get ready for tomorrow's episode. The rise of no-spend days. Are they worth it? We're diving into the trend of no-spend days. Are they a smart reset button or just a financial fad hype? We'll explore the psychology behind no-spend days, the benefits, and the hidden pitfalls like deprivation backlash and how to make them work with your spending plan, not against it. Spoiler alert, no spend days aren't about saying no to joy, they're about saying yes to intentional spending. Until next time, keep your triangle strong, your plan clear, and remember, you control your money, it does not control you. I'm Nate Tanner, and this has been Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. Talk to you tomorrow.